The views expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect those of this station.
Welcome to Insights into Northeast Michigan, a WBKB News public affairs program. Insights deals with the issues affecting those in the community as well as Northeast Michigan and the state. And now, Insights into Northeast Michigan.
Welcome to this week's Insights. I am Asia Suber, and today we have the newest city manager, Rachel Smolinski. How are you doing today, Rachel?
I'm doing well. It's a little cold this morning, but
Yes.
I'm used to that. Even coming from the west side of the state, we have a whole lot more snow right now, but it's just as cold. So.
Yes, I'm not used to this, but I am definitely getting adjusted. So, are you from Michigan?
So originally I'm from Indiana, but I've been in northern Michigan for about 20 years now. So I moved up here when I was just 24 years old for one of my first jobs out of college, and love the northern Michigan area so much that I decided to stay.
Yes. Well, thank you for tuning in today. We are sitting down with the city manager just to talk about who she is and some of her plans as the new city manager. So last week you started your first official week here in Alpena. So where did you come from prior to moving?
So I'm from the Harbor Springs, Petoskey area. I currently have a home with my husband and two children. I have an older son who is 23 years old, but I have a 6 and 9-year-old also. So we still have a house over in Harbor Springs that we are selling eventually, and getting the family over here in the next 6 months. So just across the state a little bit.
Yes. Well, what job did you have prior before this?
So I've run a nonprofit called Harbor Inc., which is a community and economic development nonprofit, and that's been for about the past 9 years. And through that nonprofit, we have had the contract for the past 5 years with the Harbor Springs Downtown Development Authority. So I've served as their director for that 5 years. So you wear many hats in a small town.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as we're talking, I can see that serving the community and things like that are really important to you. So how has that job helped you in this new position?
So I've, and prior to that, let's go back to the beginning. I worked for Little Traverse Bay Bands of Odawa Indians for about 11 years. So my educational background is actually, my undergrad's in aquatic biology, of all things. So I started working as their water quality specialist back in 2001. And so, I have a scientific background. Okay. And then I, from that position, after a few years with the Little Traverse Bay Bands, I became their environmental services department director. And that's where I really first started getting interested in real community development and getting a little more into the policy end of that. And just learning how a government works and starting to branch out to work with not only local governments, but state and federal governments, other municipalities, a lot of different nonprofits in the area, and really starting to develop their programs. So that led me over to the nonprofit, and I really could see that I wanted to do more with the broader community, which included LTBB at the time. So, I had a lot of connections there, but I wanted to really get out and start working on more of the community and economic development end. So with Harbor Inc., I really got involved in things like, trail projects, broadband development. I worked a lot, in addition to the trails, there were other recreation initiatives. And I just started working more broadly with the surrounding townships and the municipalities. We had a lot of different projects that we coordinated with the surrounding organizations and townships and the city of Harbor Springs. So, that really got me on the path to hey, I have a really, I have a science background. I've moved towards this more community and economic development path, and, really liked working in government. Not a lot of people do, but, it's something that I could really sink my teeth into and, see a process or a project from start to finish. And sometimes that process is slow, but, it was really, going through the different steps that it took to get something done within the community that I really enjoyed. So then I decided to go back to school and went to get my master's in public administration through Central Michigan University. And since I'm more of a non-traditional student, I was able to do some of that in person and a lot of it online. Because as you know, in northern Michigan, you may not have as many options. I know here there's Alpena Community College. Over in Petoskey, there was North Central Michigan College. And I did coordinate with them a lot, but ultimately I decided to go, further downstate to get my master's. So I finished up with that in May, actually, just May of this year.
Well, congratulations
to you. Thank you. So it took me about 4 years to do that, with a family and with all of my obligations with a job. So I started, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but throughout those 4 years and just, working with the DDA, I decided, hey, I think I would like to be a city manager somewhere. So, I set my sights on applying for different city manager jobs, and I felt really fortunate when Alpena came up in the job search, because we do have ties to this side of the state. My father-in-law, Mark Smolinski, is from Rogers City, and he and my mother-in-law, Janice, have had a place on Grand Lake for about 45 years. So we've spent a lot of time coming over here and spending our summers and some winter activities, because we also spend some time over in the Hubbard Lake area, where there is a hunting cabin that my husband and father-in-law are members of. So my point is, we've spent a lot of time over here, so I felt really fortunate when the Alpena position came up. We've come through this area a lot, and I told my husband, Shad, at one point, I think this is someplace that I could see us living. And, even when the job came up, he's like, oh, well, why don't you get that job? I'm like, hey, no problem.
Yes, well, it really seems that 2019 has been your year with graduating in this position, comes open, and then you get the position.
Yeah.
So do you think, starting back from getting your degree in science, that you could see yourself doing this, that you saw yourself doing this?
Oh, no way. I, you never know what's coming.
Yes.
And, my plan was to go work for the EPA. That's kind of where I saw myself at this point in my life, because I started with the science background. But all along I had this desire to work within government. So even, looking forward to a job with the EPA, I'm still looking, now I'm still in, a government job. Yeah. So I think there was always that, early on, that desire to do that, but I didn't know what form that would take later. So I thought it would be something in the science or environmental field, but you never know where life takes you.
Yeah. Well, it is now time for our break. So when we come back, we're going to be talking about what a city manager is and her plans going forward. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just now tuning in, I am here with Rachel Smolinski. She is the newest city manager. Can you tell us what a city manager is, for the ones who do not know?
So basically, and I've heard it put like this, I'm responsible for, you know, literally for keeping the lights on and keeping the water flowing in the city. So, you know, and it's different with every municipality. You know, the municipality that I'm familiar with, Harbor Springs, that I've been working for, you know, they have their own utility. You know, so it's getting up to speed, you know, on all the different operations of Alpena has been, you know, that'll be my biggest challenge here. And, you know, but back to what a city manager does, you know, it's just responsible for operating the city. You know, so there's the functional part of that. But also, you know, I see a city manager as, you know, leading community development, economic development, different, you know, pushing forward with different initiatives in the city, and maybe bringing together different entities, you know, that are already functioning in the city. You know, you have the Chamber of Commerce, you have the Downtown Development Authority here, which I'm very familiar with. And Target Alpena, which is the economic development wing of the Chamber of Commerce. There's the Visitors Bureau. You know, there are a lot of different entities that function within this area. And, you know, I see that as also a role, is bringing them all together. You know, the community college can be a great partner. You have different environmental organizations, other nonprofits. So it's all tied into the city and the surrounding area. So, you know, I think, you know, not only operating the city and just keeping things going, but also providing the opportunity for partnerships and, you know, pursuing different projects that will make this area, you know, more vital. And this is a great area. You know, there are a ton of assets. You know, you have the waterfront, you have the great people here, you have the different, you know, industries that function within the city. So, you know, those are all, and one of the things that attracted me to this, you know, is not only the natural beauty of this area, but the potential and the people that make this a community.
Yes,
So.
I agree with that. Alpena,
Did I answer your question?
Yes, yes, you did. Alpena is definitely growing and developing each day. How do you feel filling these shoes that Greg is leaving to you?
Well, you know, I've been very fortunate to be able to work with Greg over the past few days, you know, and actually be with him for 2 weeks before, you know, I officially take over as city manager at 5 p.m. and 1 second on Friday, December 20th.
Oh wow, that's coming up so soon.
Yes, so he's really taken the opportunity to provide me with a lot of history on the different projects and such, and just getting me up to speed on what, you know, how things have operated in Alpena. And, you know, assuredly I will do things a little bit differently once I learn, you know, and a lot of the things I will do, you know, the same as he did, because he has a great system set up. The staff is just wonderful. They're professional, they're dedicated to their jobs, and very knowledgeable about, you know, how a city should operate. So, you know, I'm learning from everyone right now, and I will take, well, you never stop learning, but I will take every opportunity over the next few months and up to a year to, you know, learn everything about the city. And, you know, Greg is going to be, he's a citizen of Alpena, and I know he's just a phone call away, unless he ignores me, of course.
But it's always good to have those type of people in your life and mentors to help you. When you got this position, well, excuse me, let me back up. Before you got this position, what was that process like? So did you have 1,000,001 interviews to go to? What was it?
You know, actually it was a really good process, and I had applied for a couple of other city management positions, and all of the processes were different, which was interesting to me. You know, so the city had a recruiter that they used, Frank Walsh, who is out of Meridian Township. Great guy, he was very helpful, and so they had a number of applicants. I think they had 39 applicants, and then they whittled that down to 12. And then the council decided on 6 to interview. And so there was in early October, there was a meet and greet on Friday evening over at NOAA at the Marine Sanctuary Center. And then they had interviews the next day. And you know, there were some really wonderful candidates. And in fact, I'm going to stay in touch with a few of them because we all went to dinner the night before and got to know each other. And all interviewed the next day. So, you know, I think it could have been any one of us. But, you know, I had taken a lot of time beforehand to come over. You know, I have the luxury that I'm only a couple hours away, so I came over and met with a few people, you know, because I knew a little bit about the community, but just trying to, you know, determine what some of the issues are and, you know, how some of the different things operate in Alpena. So that may have given me a little bit of an edge, and I really, really wanted the job. I have a lot of diverse background. So, you know, I think all of those things came together, and I was really prepared for the interview because I really wanted to be in this community. So they had the interviews on Saturday, and later that evening I got the call, and I'm not sure what I said, but I was really happy. You know, my husband, I think, you know, it's been a long road for us. So, you know, getting that call was just phenomenal. Yeah.
And talking with you, you have a relevant background, and you seem so passionate about it. So I know we here in Alpena, we are lucky to have you.
Oh, thank you.
But no problem. But it is time for our next break. So don't go anywhere. We are going to be talking about her future plans or any changes that she is going to make here in Alpena. Welcome back. As we are wrapping up this segment for today, can you tell us your plans for city manager? Are there some things that you want to change or keep the same? I know you had said you want to keep some things the same, but what are you thinking about changing?
Well, you know, I don't think that I am yet qualified to say what needs to be changed. You know, I'm the type of person that comes in and, you know, if there's an opportunity, you know, to make something better, and I see that, then, you know, I'll certainly go through the steps to, you know, see if that's a good thing for the city. You know, but I don't want to come in and just change everything just to change everything. Yeah. You know, I want to learn about things. I want to see why, you know, staff does things the way that they do. And, you know, if it's a good procedure, and, you know, there's no reason to change it. But where there are opportunities, certainly. And, you know, it seems like the staff will be, you know, very open to that. But, you know, I don't want to come in and change everything. Yes. You know, because that's I don't feel like that's the right approach, you know, because we do have some really good systems set in place and some really good staff, and I respect that, you know, coming in. I'm the newbie here, so, and they have been very supportive, and, you know, answering my questions, and, you know, because I will have a lot of them.
Yes, well, it's always a chance to learn. So I know you were speaking earlier about partnerships. What partnerships are you looking forward to connecting with?
So, you know, some of I'm setting up a lot of meetings right now just with different staff, but, you know, looking at outside organizations, you know, to just meet and see how the city has worked with them in the past. I do have a meeting coming up in February with like Huron Pines, who are, you know, establishing an office here in the Alpena area. And I know that there have been some partnerships that, you know, they've worked on. So, you know, just looking to at what potential is out there for, working with other entities. I'll go back and meet with the chamber and Target Alpena and back to the college again. And, so I will work my way around the community. So I'm really just looking for opportunities right now for, how can we work together? How can we, I think we all have a common goal here. Let's make Alpena and the surrounding area as good a place as we can. And, keep it vital, embrace the community that's here, and see how we can help with economic development. I know workforce is a huge issue, and retaining talent here. I worked a lot with housing on the west side of the state. Housing is an issue across northern Michigan. And I know in other areas here it's a little bit different. The affordability is there. I experienced that when I bought a small house here. That I was able to get a lot more house for a lot less money, but the inventory is low. There aren't a lot of rentals available, and that inventory is low. I dealt a lot with broadband development on the other side of the state, so I'm looking to learn more about how technology has been implemented over here. There are a lot of opportunities with MEDC and working with the state on different different sites in the city that have been there for a long time, and there's so much potential there. To revitalize those. So those are just a couple of things that I have my eye on, but I'm sure this is a huge learning curve for me, just getting to know the community a lot more and seeing what other potentials are out there. But I want to approach things very carefully and not assume that I know things coming into here. I approach things very scientifically, and I do a lot of research and evaluation on different issues. So, that's kind of how I approach things and how I hope to keep approaching things here in Alpena.
Yeah, and planning is so important. But before we go, is there one thing that you want viewers to know about you that you have not said, or just one last wrap up? Just that I'm a open person. I like to meet people, and my door is always open for a conversation. I'm going to be really busy getting up to speed, but please stop by and introduce yourself. I'm a down-to-earth person. I love to spend time with my family and outside. I hike, I fish, I hunt, I do all of the same things that a lot of people in this community like to do. So just know that about me, and that I'm very approachable. So please, I look forward to meeting all of you. Yeah, well, it was definitely nice sitting down and talking with you and getting to know you. And that will wrap up this week's Insights. Join us back here for next time. Have a good day.
Insights into Northeast Michigan is produced by WBKB News. If you have any comments, suggestions, or topics you would like to see on a future show, please email WBKB News. This has been a production of Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation. All rights reserved.